So welcome to the front lever planche side split workout. So here's a basic version of the front lever. It's really important to get these muscles engaged. So you can even use these as a warm-up to really get those lower traps turned on and feel that chest open up. And then here you can make it a little bit harder by having the legs a little bit straighter and getting an isometric hold and then bringing the knee up. So I've raised the legs a little bit so it also makes it easier to hop up into that tuck one as a more advanced version, but you really want to make sure your neck's nice and stable and you spend enough time in each. Now if you've got that last one down, then this shouldn't be too hard to lower down into it, and if you've got a nice pull-up, then obviously that makes it a lot easier. So then there, keeping the arms straight, getting that nice isometric hold. So this month we're working on more of an isometric, but it is important to maintain the strength of the dynamic version and the eccentric version. So here I'm going to pull up into that, so that way I still get a concentric even though I'm working predominantly isometric, and then I'll lower out of it when I finish the reps, so that way I'm always working the eccentric as well, even when I'm just doing even when the focus is isometric. So I like to do all three of those components in my training all the time, but one of them will be a bit more of a focus. So here I've got a nice tuck version into the pike, so just getting that nice control. So it's nice and simple, and you can just stall it at the heavier point there, but just to maintain that control. And then here's a heavier version when you're starting to open up the spine, so going from a closed tuck spine into an open spine, a straight spine. And then I'm just letting the knees go past the arms. Once they pass, going out into a butterfly, so it's a lot heavier. And you can see the shoulders have to move back away from the rings to stay balanced. So it is quite heavy, just really getting that nice eccentric control, but you could work more of an isometric at one stage there. Now for the planche, the basic one I like people to work is just coming over into that lean. And you can measure your fingertip distance or your heel of the palm distance from a wall, so you know how far you're leaning, because the temptation after each set is always to make it a bit easier. So here you know the angle. To make it a little bit harder and to work on that toe point, you can work it there and hold that and just get that nice isometric control. So it's quite good. It's important to release the wrists after, like that, after the set. Here just using the band, so pressing up into that tuck, trying to get that nice tuck handstand position, and then lowering down into the tuck planche. So here, spotting the ground, trying to really pull the ribs in. That's hard, then really press with the serratus as I'm approaching that tuck isometric hold. So for the side splits, the version I like to work is just lowering down body weight, so really get nice strength and control there. Getting that nice pause at the bottom, so you get that eccentric contraction, eccentric going down, isometric at the bottom, and then concentric coming out of it. So I like that one. I like loading that one up for side splits for people as well, before advancing into the double leg one, because it is quite heavy. The temptation in this is for the butt to go back, which does make it a lot easier because you're bending forward. So you can put the hands on the legs as well to assist. And that way it takes a little bit of that pressure out and moves it closer to the knee, especially if you're reaching towards the knees, and then lowering right down. Got to be super careful with this. You do not want to tear anything. You want to build that strength up. And it's nice after the side split just to do a bit of a hip release and take that pressure out. Here you can see the loaded one. And then from this lateral view, really trying to not let the butt go back and not trying to not lean forward. And it's also a great strengthening exercise just for the normal squat, because that leg that you're going towards is just a normal squat with a slightly wider stance, and the other one's training the adductor. So I like using it. That's why I keep the side splits and squatting on the same day. Here's going a little bit wider, and then that overhead position. What makes this super hard is to try and keep the ribs in. I can guarantee my ribs are flaring there if we had a lateral view. But you're really working hard to try and minimize that, and really pressing up and try and control all the way down with the load. But all these things take time to condition the tissues, but getting stronger in those end ranges is what really helps. So working that 4 rounds, I like working 30, 30, 30 and a 30 rest. But if you need to, take longer rests, work it, film it, get it back to me, and that way I can coach you and assist you and help you work out what the next best thing is to do, and also if you need to regress and change, so that way you can progress further. So see you soon, guys.